So here I am driving my car and filming myself at the same time. Seems like a cool thing that the atheists do. I mean, I've seen Matt Dillahunty do it, you know. It looks really cool, so I'm doing it. I'm one of the cool atheists driving my car, filming. Actually, I've been kind of lacking in original ideas for the last several days, so I haven't really done anything as far as videos. I've just been kicking back, watching reruns, enjoying the Memorial Day weekend. And I have to go to the pet store today. I go very, very far away because there's a pet store. There's a lot of pet stores closer, but this one's far away because it's superior to all the others. So that's why I go there. Anyway, I thought I would while I'm driving, have another, what's it called? Blathering, yes, blathering. I just got done watching a video by, I don't remember his name, he was smoking something. It looked like he was doing drugs while he was making a video, actually. And he was talking, the title of the video was, Atheists Are Full of Shit. Actually, that's the title of his video in the actual video, but he has the name of the video, Atheists Are Full of Crap. Like, he can't quite, or maybe he thinks that you can't use the word shit in the actual title of the video because that's a bad word. I don't know. And he goes on and on about how atheists claim that it's a fact that God does not exist. That's so not true. Atheists don't claim that it's a fact that God does not exist. Atheists don't believe that God exists. Atheists are people who are the opposite of people who do believe that a God exists. You know, if there were not atheists who don't believe that God exists, it wouldn't be any big deal for Christians saying that they do believe in God. You know, so, I believe that God exists. Well, that doesn't make you special if everybody on the planet also believes the same thing you do. So, obviously everybody on the planet doesn't believe the same thing you do. So you have to come up with different words for people who don't believe what you believe, right? You believe in God. Well, great, good for you. We'll call you a Christian, or we'll call you a Muslim, or we'll call you whatever the fuck that you want to be called, because there's different flavors of that same belief, that there's some kind of supernatural whatever. But there's also people who don't believe that God exists. Those people need to have a name too. Why don't we call them atheists? Yeah, that's it. Why don't we call them atheists? Atheists are people who don't believe in God. They don't believe a God exists. Why is that such a big problem? Why do we have people like this guy, some strange IGEO or whatever his name was, saying that atheism is full of shit / crap, whatever, you know? Why do we have to have people coming on and say things like that? Just because, you know, they misrepresent what we are. People who don't believe in God are not people that say it's a fact God doesn't exist. We don't say that God doesn't exist. We say we don't believe that God exists. I don't understand why that is so difficult to understand the difference between the two different things. Saying that it's a fact God doesn't exist, you kind of, you know, that's kind of, it's likely true that a God doesn't exist because there's no evidence for it. You know, and until somebody comes up with some evidence for it, I'd say it's a valid opinion to say that I don't think God exists. I think that's a valid opinion, and anybody has a right to have a valid opinion. And until somebody shows that there is proof that a God exists, that opinion is as valid as saying that I think that a God does exist. I think a God doesn't exist. I think a God does exist. See, they're both valid opinions based on the fact that we don't have evidence either way. Now I'm going to the freeway, so I kind of have to actually think about what I'm doing. I noticed the lighting is really crappy, you know, in this driving in the car, doing a video kind of thing. Not sure what the big attraction is. This is me driving my smart car. Do I look cool? Yeah, smart car. I'm bigger than my car practically. But I have to say, smart cars are really fun, and they actually are very peppy once you learn how to navigate their little their transmission, because their transmission isn't really quite normal like a normal car. It's a little bit different. But once you learn to when to put your foot on the gas and when to let up, you know, this little car does really a great job of passing other cars, which is important to me. I am a lead foot. I like driving cars like my well, I just like cars that have muscle. I really loved driving a Mitsubishi GT3000. That was a V8. That was amazing. I would have bought that car, except they wanted, it was a 2005, no, I'm sorry. It was a 1995. It was 1 year newer than my Camaro that I had totaled. I was trying to find a replacement for my Camaro, and so I was driving this thing, and oh my God, it was a monster. It was so damn cool. I mean, I got up, I got up to whatever 70 miles an hour in this thing in a matter of what seemed like seconds, and then I realized I wasn't even I was still in third gear. I'm not kidding. It was a stick shift. I was in third gear, and I was going freeway speed in this thing. And I would have taken that car home because it was like my dream car. Except they wanted as much for that car. They wanted, oh my God. You know, it's like, I don't remember, it was like $10,000 or $11,000. And of course, that's before license fees and all that, taxes. So yeah, I wasn't going to be buying a car that was only 1 year newer than my 1994 Camaro for the price of, like, it was about the same price as this little smart car that I'm driving right now, and it's a 2009. So anyway, I really kind of forgot. Oh, I was just saying the smart car is a fun car to drive. If you don't use your back seats ever and you don't really have passengers, it's economically, it's a really good choice. Even the one that isn't, you know, there's the new smart car that's a hybrid, and I think there's an all-electric one that's coming out in 2013 too, or is out. Costs twice as much as the gasoline variety one, of course. But yeah, I have this one's just straight gas, and it's amazing. The gas mileage is amazing in this little car. So I think this car actually gets better mileage than my motorcycle. I have a VTX 1300. It's a nice bike, but I think this car actually gets better mileage than the motorcycle. In fact, I think the car might weigh less than my motorcycle. Well, I don't think that. But anyway, so yeah, that's basically what atheists are people who don't believe that a God exists. And some of us are more adamant than others about it. Some of us are really pretty fucking sure that a God doesn't exist. And we really require evidence. We really require proof. We require that this God manifests himself in some way. But any atheist that says there's no such thing as God, you know, they're really sure of their position, just like a Christian who claims there is a God is sure of their position. But there's no evidence to show that there is a God, as much as there's no evidence to show that there isn't a God either. So a Christian who says, oh yes, I believe that there's a God, God exists, that's a fact, is just as far off as an atheist who says, no such thing as God. God's a fictionary character. It doesn't exist. You know, Christians get really pissed off when atheists say that. But Christians say all the time, God exists. That's a fact. God exists. It's true. God exists. it's not true. You just want it to be true. You just think it's true. Just like an atheist thinks that it's true that a God doesn't exist. But again, it's all thinking things and believing things doesn't make it true. The only thing that will make it true that a God exists, or true that a God doesn't exist, is evidence. You cannot show that a God exists. You cannot show that a God doesn't exist, because you can't prove that something that doesn't exist doesn't exist. So first of all, before an atheist can disprove God, a theist needs to prove God. A theist needs to show evidence to make it more believable that a God exists. Physical evidence, whatever. Provable evidence. Evidence that can be recreated. I don't know, just something. Like, I saw a video the other day where they're saying, if somebody prayed right now for everybody on the planet to get cured of cancer tonight, and it happened, that would be serious cause to reconsider whether a God exists. You know, if everybody on the planet got cured of cancer tonight because somebody prayed that, I would have to seriously think that maybe a God exists. Or, you know, if I prayed and really meant it and was seriously, fervently believing that it would happen, that it would be Friday again, because, you know, I'm not quite done with having a weekend yet, and I really didn't get all the things done that I wanted to get done. I think we should go back to having it be Friday again. God can do anything. If it was suddenly Friday again, you know, and the weekend hadn't really, it's like we all got to have a do-over, but we were able to remember, you know, that we already had a weekend, but now we're having another weekend, and we're going to go back in time and basically do it over, but we still get to enjoy the memories that we just created from this past weekend. If it was Friday again, that would be a supernatural event. See, that's what it would take to prove God. A supernatural event. Something that is not provable, that is not explainable, I should say, by nature, by natural causes. Having it be Friday again after we've just lived the weekend, that would be a supernatural event. Making time go backwards, you know? That would be a supernatural event. Having everybody get cured of cancer in one night, that would be a supernatural event. You know? Not something that can be explained by nature. So that's what it would take to prove the Christians' claim that God exists. And once they prove that God exists, then atheists would have something to argue against. But right now, there's really nothing to argue against, because Christians are not showing anything to show evidence for their claims. So how can we argue against a claim that isn't really a valid claim? I don't know if this is making sense, because I'm trying to drive my car and I feel like I'm just blathering, which is what I said I was going to be doing in this video. So yeah, whether or not this is going to make any sense, but the whole thing this guy has a problem with about atheists saying they don't believe God exists. What are we supposed to do if we don't believe in God, if we don't believe that God exists? Are we just supposed to not say anything about it? We're just supposed to keep our mouths shut because it's annoying to people who do think a God exists, to have people that don't think a God exists? Are we so because it annoys you that I think there's no such thing as God, I should just not say anything, and that would be better? Honesty is not good. We should all be agreeing with you, or just keep our mouths shut. I do think that a God doesn't exist. I really don't see any reason for one. I don't see any evidence for one. And I think that a lot of harm comes from the belief in a God. Especially the patriarchal gods that try to dictate our lives for us and tell us what we can and cannot do, and make up things and tell our children that they were born sinners and born corrupt and born broken and need a fix fixing. See, I think that's a bad thing. I think it's bad for young people's self-esteem to have that kind of a image of themselves, see themselves as broken and corrupt and damaged in need of fixing. I think that's bad. So anyway, I'm almost to the pet store, and I'm kind of afraid I'm going to start repeating myself if I keep going with this. But yeah, people who don't agree with other people, no matter what your belief is, there's always going to be people that don't agree with your belief. And I'm sorry, but people who don't agree with you have just as much right to say they don't agree as you have a right to say what you believe. So I'm sorry if it ruffles feathers that some people don't agree with you or agree with what you believe, but they're always going to be there, and they're always going to have as much right to vocalize and explain and express themselves as you do. Big bump. So anyway, if you've been watching, thanks for watching. Bye.